Hi, everybody. Hi,
Oh, hi,
KFC.
folks.
There's KFC from Down Under.
KFC.
KFC.
Hi, Jose. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow evening. Fingers crossed the trains are all running on time.
Nick and Jose have a date tomorrow.
We do indeed.
Nice.
At a really groovy looking place in London.
Nice.
Some kind of chop house, I think. I think that's where they dismember motor cars and sell them for parts. But,
Yeah, chop them up.
yep. Anyway, I'm continually tinkering with my speech. I haven't really decided what I'm going to say yet, but they will find out on the night, I guess. I'll
So-
just be making it up as I go along, I think.
Well, that's always fun.
Yeah, well, it's fun for me. I don't know about the audience.
So, Nick, you'll take the train up and then the tube?
I think, yeah, indeed. And I think the last train leaves about 11, so I have to make sure I catch that to come home. Then I have to walk home from the railway station here in the pitch black because I hopefully will have consumed more alcohol than I'll be allowed to drive my car with. So
And your designated driver will be sound asleep, I'm sure.
yes, she will, sadly.
Missing
Yes.
persons report.
Right. So, everybody, we're going to do a two-parter this week, sort of a bit of a last-minute call. Steffi has lost her voice today, so she can't join us, but she can join us. We haven't decided the timing yet. We'll let you know. So, we're going to do about maximum of an hour and a half, probably a little less than that today. And then
So
another.
did we decide if that was because of APG syndrome or was it a side effect of the go around a cylinder?
Yeah, we haven't. I don't think she's got the test back yet.
Ah, okay. Right.
Inconclusive.
Indeed. I've been to conclusive, but I've never gone in.
Jose says there'll be plenty to drink, Nick.
Well, I'm very glad to hear it. That sounds great.
Then you don't have to worry about your speech too much.
No, I don't have to
No.
worry about the audience either.
Exactly.
By the sounds of it.
So, Nixie, is all your snow gone, or is it still on the ground?
There's still a little bit on the ground, but it's
Yeah,
day by day slowly going away.
yeah. Did the kids get excited that it was so snowy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My younger son likes to eat the snow, and so he will walk outside
Don't
without
eat yellow
shoes on.
snow.
Yeah,
Oh,
just walk outside without shoes on, just in his jammies, and grab a handful of snow and walk back in the house, wander around,
okay.
eating it.
Sounds
Well,
like my
it could
dog.
be handy if he ever gets caught in an avalanche. He could just eat his way out.
Well, that's true.
There you go.
That's true. And also
Survival.
Say
survive.
don't eat the yellow snow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Jeff, did you want to try the levels on the intro?
Yeah. I guess don't worry about that right now.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot
Oh,
Guy Show.
very quiet.
View from our side of the cockpit door.
That was. Did everybody else think that was quiet, or was it just me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is quiet coming from him, though, for some reason. For me,
I don't know what. Maybe here. Let me check something.
Neil thinks both parts are going to be 3 hours long. No. No, we're not
Hey,
going
Dad.
for. No, not
Nope.
quite.
Will not be. Okay, let me try this again.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. The view from
That better?
No, still too
No.
quiet. Still too quiet. And
But it wasn't better. I mean, I slid a volume slider quite a ways up. Interesting. I don't know why it didn't have an effect.
yeah, Neil agrees it's too quiet still.
Be right back.
Yep.
All right, let me go over here to StreamYard, see if something going on there. %, on the mic volume. Let me go bump it up to.
UH Blackhawk says his wife, the doctor, never seems to lose her voice, especially when she's irritated with him.
Okay, is that any better on the volume? I just moved up the mic volume slider on StreamYard.
It does sound a bit better,
Sounds
Jeff.
better to me. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. How about Radio Roger?
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy
Still too
Show.
soft?
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
A little better, but it's still soft to me.
Okay.
It's the airline.
Yeah, I'm not using the Mac Mini setup. I'm using the MacBook Air setup.
Right.
Trying to get into that mode.
Your mobile mode.
My mobile mode. Well, okay. Well, I guess I'll bump that up to 170%. See how that works.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
You from our side of the cockpit door.
That's better.
Better, you said?
Yeah, I can go with that. What do you think in the chat room?
1,000.
Still too low?
No, that sounds good to me.
I think they sound okay now, Jeff.
Okay. Yeah, that's like 170%.
I was waiting for just something to happen and it would blow our ears off because I knew you kept setting it up and up, but
Yeah. Well, there's so many different, it's called gain staging, and there are many ways to set gain, and then it's all kind of in a chain, and you got to be careful about how it's all set.
Mike Kuiper says it sounds better. He's good.
Better, but not good. All right. Well,
I think it's acceptable myself, but
check. 1, 2, 3. Mic level. My mic level still okay.
yep.
I mean, in my interface, I mean, it's pushing yellow, sometimes clipping red. What else is in the chain that I need to adjust?
Pardon me.
I think that's it.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Well, I'm going to have to play something in Evernote as well because that's probably going to have to be adjusted. Oh my gosh. You okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I think it needs a mute button or something.
I do have a mute button. Sorry.
or pop the thing up and out of your way. Crap. Let's see. What's the first video?
Is it 1A?
Okay,
The
1A.
video of
So
the
let
tail
me
strike.
Load that. Yeah. Present video file 1A. All right, and add a stage. I don't want to start right there. Where do I want to start? Right there. There would be perfect.
I'm glad it's the end of your cold, Neil.
Everybody getting sick, huh?
That time of the year.
So far, I haven't succumbed, but
No,
you never
neither
know.
have I so far.
Let me find some feedback, audio feedback from somebody. Do we have any?
I don't think so. This week. Oh, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have Brian Coleman's audio you could test. even though you're not going to play it till next show.
Yeah, I don't know if I put it in. Oh, I guess I did.
Sorry, Nick, what were you saying? Yes, no, we haven't done that yet. Thank you. We'll finish doing
Hey,
what
Captain Jeff. Hey, everybody. We're here. The meetup actually happened. Yeah, we're at your pizza place. Yeah,
Sounds
no, I know
good.
it's not your pizza
Okay.
place.
Yeah.
It's a pizza place called
Really?
Your Pizza Place here in Largo,
All right,
Florida. So, Brian, you brought some people with you.
I know. Isn't this incredible that people act?
There we go. Got to play the whole thing, by the way. I have a reason for it. Okay.
You want to try Unity and then get that
Yeah.
out of the way? Okay.
Yes, please. Are you on Unity, Camacho? All right. Very good. Unity works, our back channel.
Yep.
Same back time, same back channel.
Yeah. I love Batman.
Me too. Why don't you marry him? I would if I could. By the way, just for you, the little snicklers or snickler? Is that no stickler? There we go.
Sticklers, yes.
I fancy being a snickler. That sounds like
Something
much more
does
fun.
not sound right about what I just said. You sticklers for time and starting on time and all that kind of stuff. We the time that we set is our pre-show live stream start time, and we nailed it. Well, I guess we were still a couple of minutes late.
That was pretty good, though.
Yeah,
Jeff's
there's
up
no
on the
guarantee when we're
technical.
actually going to start recording.
No, we
just got tired
we're
of
now
it.
covered legally.
There we go.
Our lawyers weighed in on it.
Yeah, we. Oh, and the other thing I want to say before we start the show, an incentive to hang out toward the end. Again, it's not going to be a 3-hour show today. It's going to be an hour and a half the most. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And somebody had suggested. Oh, Nigel,
Captain
had
Nige.
suggested that we have some way, or the chatters, the chat room has some way of joining us when we're recording our live stream. And I do have a way to send out invites for you. I'm not sure, and so I thought we could experiment with that a little bit today, and then maybe in subsequent episodes leading up to 600. if we
Right, so it's
decide
for the
that we wanna do
16th,
that.
600th only. We should be clear to say it's not for every show that we're going to
Yeah,
do.
that's why. So after we finish the quote unquote recording of part 1, we'll still be on the stream here, and we'll just experiment with. If any of you are feeling adventurous and you want to help us experiment with that, and let me see if I can. Okay, instructions for guests. Let me see if I can get that in the chat for you to take a gander.
But Captain Nick, if you have to head off to bed at the end of the show, you go right ahead.
Yeah, you don't need. And same
Sure,
thing
no
with Camacho.
problem.
If you need to leave, that's fine. Yeah, I thought we already covered that. I think. Okay, here we go. See if did that actually show up, that
Yeah,
link?
Yeah.
Okay,
let's see it. Yeah.
okay, so that gives if you want to look at that and see what to expect. What happens basically when you use the link that we're going to publish? It'll bring you into the stream, but it won't automatically bring you into what we call the big screen, which is where the 4 of us are right now. You kind of hide, or you exist down below that in what we're looking at.
The green room.
You kind of a green room setup, and sometimes we're not used to looking for people down there that have no ability to bring themselves into the big screen, and sometimes, hey, like nobody sees me. Please let me in. But anyway, so we'll play around with that, and as I think that I haven't read the instructions in a while, but it probably talks about, kind of minimum requirements as far as, like a microphone, and you got to have headphones. Don't use speakers on your laptop. Make sure you have earbuds or headphones or something like that, so we're not hearing
Echoes.
the echo thing going on. And we'll see how that works. So
Cool.
that's something to look forward to at the end of the show. Hello, Pip. Hello,
Hi, Pip.
Hosea. I hold boxes. Neil Landwarm. I see you're back to your normal self. And not Captain Jeff is the greatest, or whatever your identity was for a while, which I did prefer, actually. Hello, Mike Kuipers.
I Hold Boxes has just slipped into the chat room.
UH Blackhawk, yep, I mentioned him already. We already talked about KFC makes good winglets, or make good winglets. All right. Global Citizen. Is that Hosea?
That's Jose. Yeah.
Okay, Jose.
Yeah, he changed accounts.
I gotcha. Okay. All right. I think
Ready when you are, Captain.
we are just about ready to go here. Where's the thing that I'd like to read? Right here. And I need to move Steph's out of the way so I don't accidentally say that. And I need to put Nick Camacho right here. And okay. I think we're ready to go.
Yay.
All right. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Okie doke. Here we go.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 596.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline
Gotcha.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from Studio 1A at APG headquarters in Roswell, Georgia. Today's show is recorded on the 30th of November, 2023.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Picture light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a Brazilian airliner suffers a tail strike during landing, and an Air Baltic flight goes into a steep dive while landing after capturing a false glide slope signal. Also ahead, more news and your feedback. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 596 is ready for pushback.
Hello, Radio Roger, or thank you, Radio Roger Stern. He's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM in
New York City.
Welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, an almost retired pilot at a major U.S. legacy airline based in Atlanta, Georgia. And joining me from his studio,
In Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
professional photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330-340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Well, good evening, Jeff and everyone. Great to be here again. I can always tell when December's coming around because I get a lot of complaints from the missus about leaving the doors open. Apparently, it makes the house cold.
Huh. That's strange. All right. Also joining us from his home studio in the air capital, low and slow pilot, AMP mechanic, old airplane enthusiast, and engineer in the aerospace and defense industry. It's Nick Camacho.
Hey, Captain Jeff. Glad to be back. I missed a few. I've been bouncing around the country a little bit, but I'm glad to be home here for a little bit to talk to you guys.
Yeah, great that you're here with us. Can't wait to hear what you've been up to. And also joining us from her studio in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, and our producer, it's Liz Piper.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and good afternoon, chat room.
Good afternoon, everyone. And can you believe it? 11/12ths of the way through 2023 already? It's
Getting
amazing.
there.
Time flies, doesn't it?
Have a good show, guys.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Speaking of flying, let's do some aviation news.
Stand by for news.
All right, the first item, Aviation Herald, avherald.com, from Simon Horatke. An Azul, is that right? Azul, Linhas Aéreas Aviance de Transport Régional, an ATR 72212 Alpha, registration Papa Romeo Alpha Kilo Oscar, October, Oscar. I don't know why I heard it stop performing. I feel like it was an old black and white movie all of a sudden. Oh, Papa Romeo, Alpha Kilo, Oscar. Performing flight 2737 from Aracaju, nailed it, to Recife, port in Brazil. Landed on Recife's runway 18 when in the final stages the sink rate increased, followed by an increase in pitch. The aircraft
As if
touched
by
down.
magic.
Yeah, it's weird. The aircraft touched down its main gear with its tail contacting the runway surface. This is at 9:45 local time, and the airplane bounced, touched down a second time, and rolled out. The onward flight was canceled. That's weird. Have some video if you want to take a look at this particular incident. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. That's right here. There we go. Coming on in. Look at that pretty airplane. ATR 72212
Oh,
Alpha.
nice and shiny. Good paint job.
Yeah, isn't that nice?
No, I don't like the paint job. I'm going to make a mess of it.
Yeah. Okay. So he kind of stopped the descent a little bit too soon, didn't he? And ow.
Ooh, hey, yeah. Wow.
That what? That has got to hurt. Yeah, it's going to be a while before that airplane will be able to sit down. So let's look at that again. So it's coming in. Everything's looking pretty good until right about, for some reason, they just kind of flared high. And then what happens is your airspeed continues to bleed off, and then you drop like a rock, and then you don't have control authority to really arrest the descent rate. And then if you over rotate or you bring your pitch up too high, then you have the possibility of hitting the old tail. We can see everybody here. How about that? Yeah. All right. So what do y'all think? I mean, is there any more to it than that? Just a flare too high and probably should have initiated.
It looks like it. I think you've hit the nail on the head, Jeff. What are your aircraft like for tail strike? Are they prone to tail strikes?
No, the Boeing 717, which is really a McDonnell Douglas, the latest version of the DC-3, very similar in what do you call it? Dimensions as the DC-9-30, and the distance between the main gear and the tail is pretty short on that jet. It's not one of the, unlike the MD-88 and MD-90, where the distance between the main gear and the tail was quite a bit longer. But and so on the 88, the only time we had to worry about tail strikes usually involved the takeoff sequence, especially when you were heavy and taking off out of places like LaGuardia on a hot day. People had a tendency to kind of get a little excited about seeing the end of the runway and the water coming up and kind of over-rotated. Yeah. And overdid a little bit, and sometimes they smacked the tail, so you had to be careful with that. But, really, most of the time, not a big deal for my particular jet.
Well, the 340 being such a damn long aeroplane, it was prone to tail strikes. So we had a number of procedures and protections, nothing that physically stopped it happening, but we used to have an additional indication on the attitude indicator that warned us when we were getting to a pitch angle that would be close to a tail strike. And we had procedures in the company for special calls if that situation came around, so that you could give the guy who's hand flying it and looking out the window some indication that he's overdoing it. I don't know if the ATR is particularly prone to tail strikes, but quite obviously, if you do let the speed bleed back and then you tend to drop out of the sky, over-rotate the airplane to try and cushion that landing, if you can call it that. Then that's another situation when it can happen. But we had several tail strikes, and we didn't have that big a fleet. I mean, we only had about 10 or 12 airplanes, and I think we had 3 or 4 tail strikes. So yeah, it's something you've got to be aware of, and speed is probably the most important thing. Not just speed, obviously, but setting up a stable approach and carrying it on down till touchdown is the important bit.
Oh, iHall Boxes in our live audience says that's a Brazilian waxing. Oh, wax.
Oh,
whack. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
Well, I could think of lots of pictures I could put for that, none of which would pass the censor.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, no more suggestions like that, please. KFC Make Good Winglets -8 300 is prone to tail strike, hence why it has a touched runway warning. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Airbus fitted it to the 340 after our first tail strike, so that because the guy was climbing out of Hong Kong, and he kind of got to about 10,000 feet before he thought, nah, this might not be the most sensible thing, just because the cabin crew were phoning up going, we had a really funny noise on takeoff.
I was going to say, in this case, I'm thinking that they probably didn't need that system to alert them that they had touched the runway with their tail on that video.
No, probably not.
UH Blackhawk in our live audience says we had an issue on the ATR 72 where an engine would occasionally go from 15 to 18% thrust all the way to 0 airflow over wing would stop and it would drop in. Didn't want to try and arrest with pitch. Yeah, that's what this pilot tried to do. Didn't work out so great. I mean, he did arrest the pitch. It's just that, arrest the descent, but didn't avoid whacking the tail on the runway.
Well, I think Pip in the chat room might
you, Liz. The question.
Pip in the chat room might have actually done a landing at London City. So,
why don't we read Jeremy Lemaire's what he put in the chat room first, and then we can move on.
Sure. He says, Liz, can you ask Captain Nick if he ever landed at London City? No. A little small for our monster aeroplanes. It's a 5.5 degree approach that I'm sure listeners would love to hear about. Yeah, it is an unusual approach because of the fact that it's built, the runway is built on the edge of the Thames, right in the middle of the city. So they keep the aircraft reasonably high and then have a steep approach. to try and keep the noise footprint down to an absolute minimum. The only things I know about it, obviously I've never tried it, is the aircraft has to be especially modified. And I know BA have some A320 series airplanes that they can land in there, but Airbus have done something to the flap configuration so they can do that. Some aircraft are easy to get in. The BA146 is quite easy, but as far as I know, all the pilots that do land there have to be specifically checked out to fly that approach. But I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure Pip has gone in there. I don't know. He might be able to say something. But no, it's a bit of a one-off arrival, that one.
He came in with this, Nick, if you want to read it.
Yeah, Pip from Plane Safety Podcast, sitting in our chat room today, says that he has a number of peculiarities. And yeah, I'm sorry about that, Pip. And so does London City, the latest of which apparently is a remote tower. So instead of people having to come to work in London, they can do this from, I think they've outsourced it to Mongolia, out of Mongolia, I believe. And they pipe in all the visuals there, and they've got some air traffic controllers that live there who look after the airport for them. Very clever.
Interesting. Very clever.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the first proper remote controlled tower. There has. I don't know of another one. But then again, I've been out of the industry. He believes they're down in Swanwick in Mongolia. Yeah, I've been to Swanwick, not the one in Mongolia, but the one on the south coast, and they're a fine bunch of air traffic controllers down there. I noticed that our friend Adam doesn't work there. He works under the tower at Heathrow in a special dungeon.
Just literally under the tower.
Yes, he did. It's literally under the tower. Yes. The Tower of London, Liz has commented, which I think is very apt.
Yes, very. All right. Well, we've flogged that one enough, I believe.
Yes.
Let's move to another video. Darn it. I thought I was on top of my game today. I was wrong. Yep. Sticking with the old ATR ploy. Let's, which one is it? Yeah, what number again? Oh, why do I not have? I don't. Oh, that's right. I changed the title to remove the video in the title. Okay, there is no video. Okay. Woo.
Jeff is on top
All right.
of his game.
Pardon me. So this item here from, again, Aviation Herald is a final report. An incident that happened at the Patoredo. No, the airline, I guess, is Patoredo, ATR 72 at Rondonópolis on the 9th of, thank you. There we go. Nailed it. January 9th, 2016, a long time ago. Landed short of the runway, took out airport fence. Let's see, this ATR 72212 Alpha, just like the previous one we talked about, registration Papa Romeo, Papa Delta Delta, performing flight 2330 from Brasilia to Rondonópolis in Brazil. 54 passengers, 4 crew, was on approach to Rondonópolis' runway 02 when the aircraft touched down more than 300 meters or 1,000 feet short of the runway in a soy field at 0023 local time, so a little bit after midnight local time. It was dark. They rolled for about...
A soy field?
A soy, yeah, like soy.
Is
like
that
soybeans.
how they make soy sauce?
Yeah, with soybeans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I never.
They rolled for about 30 meters, 100 feet, and collided with and took out a fence. The fence had concrete pylons. while they were going around. The aircraft landed without further incident following a second approach. There were no injuries. The aircraft sustained substantial damage to the fuselage, propellers, and landing gear. This is an interesting statement by the Secretary of Transport and Traffic at Rondonopoulos. He says the incident didn't have any gravity. The plane landed safely and normally sometime later. Does he mean the airplane ran out of gravity? Or,
I don't know. I was going to say without gravity, how come it hit the ground?
It shouldn't have hit the ground. It didn't have any gravity. I took that as the statement as, there's nothing happened. There's nothing to see here. Let's move on. However, the investigatory agencies didn't take their advice and decided to go ahead and press on and see what happened. The airline stated that due to weather, the aircraft needed to go around following a first touchdown at 23 minutes past midnight. The aircraft positioned for another approach landed safely on the second approach. The passengers disembarked normally. Some of them had a little limp.
Little limp what?
Well, they walked with a little limp.
Oh, okay. Right, I understand
let's
now.
see. On the 20th of January 2016, the French BEA reported, based on notification by Brazil's CANIPA, that the aircraft touched down short of the runway, went around, joined a traffic pattern, and landed normally in a second approach. The aircraft collided with a fence during the maneuver, however. Okay, so the final report just came out. Wait a minute. Final report came out on the 16th of November, 2021. Why are we just now seeing this? That's just interesting. Maybe they published it and we just got access to it. I may have taken Simon's rant out of this in Evernote here because he says it a lot, and because it was probably not published in English, and they probably didn't notify all the investigatory agencies around the world, and he's not happy about it, probably. All right, so the probable causes of the accident were control skills, a contributor. When subjected to the effects of visual illusions during the final approach for landing, the pilots had the false perception of being high on the ramp, and I think they mean like the slope, like the glide slope, acting on the flight controls in order to correct their position in relation to the false perception. So let me see. It probably would be a good idea to kind of explain the events here. It's late at night or early in the morning, your choice. And they're flying into an airport that has no instrument approaches, no navigational aids. So it's a VMC, VFR only type of an airport. And when they were coming in, the air traffic controller, the air traffic controller gave them some information regarding the weather.
That was great.
So what are you there, Nick? I'm trying.
Yeah, I think the controller said there was 20 kilometers visibility.
Oh yeah, and the reason why he said that is because when he looked out his window, he could see the lights of the city in that direction, which is not the direction that the airplane was coming in from. And he could see it, and he knew that the city is about 20 nautical miles away, so the visibility must be 20. Yep. However, there were some fog banks and areas where the visibility was less than 20.
Yeah, the poor pilots, they weren't landing from the city.
No.
They were coming the other way.
And I forgot exactly what. Okay, here's the special METAR issued right about the time, or maybe right after.
Yes, maybe probably exactly right after.
Yeah, let's see, or maybe it was just before. I think he had just recorded this, but didn't mention this when the airplane was coming in. The horizontal visibility was equal to 1,000 meters. Presence of fog. Vertical visibility equal to 100 feet.
Yes.
Okay.
Poor
That's
pilots.
something that you probably would want to know if you're flying an airplane with passengers coming into this place. That's very, very dark. And I don't know what kind of maneuver that they were using to try to find the runway and align with the runway. And apparently, whatever it was, it didn't work out very well because I'm sure you've already showed some of the photos of the of where it touched down and the tracks and in the ground. That's it is a soy field, and
Wow.
we definitely saw the fence.
For all
we
that
saw
sauce.
no, the bottles they haven't the bottles are out of frame. You can't see the bottles for the soy sauce yet. That was some of the damage to the airplane, hitting one of the posts, I guess, in the fence posts. And you can see in this overhead view where it touched down in relation to the runway. The whole thing is just like, what? How could this possibly happen in this day and time? But perhaps in this area of the world, things aren't quite the same as they are in other. ATR pilots, this is iHaul boxes. ATR pilots, just try to not make it onto the onto the news next week. Yeah, try.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just a couple of little remarks about this, Jeff, because of course it was a known effect at this airfield to have the black hole effect on both runways, actually. And for those who aren't aware of what that is, if you have got no lighting, no nothing on the approach into a runway, it's like you are descending into a black hole, and the only illumination comes from the runway lights. And in particular, this airport, I don't think it had any approach lights. It certainly had no visual glide slope guidance, like no PAPIs or vases, that kind of stuff. So the pilots are relying entirely on the perceived aspect of the runway to decide that they're on the correct glide path or not. Now, when you've got a black hole effect, it's one of the well-recognized visual illusions, and the common result is that you perceive you're too high and you descend faster towards the runway than you should be. This was also exacerbated by the fact that they had fog. So even looking down the runway would have appeared shorter than it should be, which gives you a false horizon, because that's the limit of your visibility. That's all you can see is where the fog allows you to see, and it appears lower than the real Earth's horizon. So in an attempt to move that horizon to where you think it should be, you descend faster, and all these things combined. I've read up a bit about the black hole effect. No one seems to know exactly what the cause is, but a lot of the time it's a lack of peripheral vision, because you're not seeing any rush effect, you're not seeing anything texture from the ground to give you a feeling of your height. You're relying entirely on this perception of an approach. And of course, if the runway is tilted down and away from you, or tilted up a little bit, that will affect your perception of this picture of a runway on a 3-degree slope that you're aiming for. And it's so well recognized that it is written up, in fact, in the 60s. That's when it was first formally they did a lot of work on it, because a lot of airports had this type of illumination, and it was in America they were losing a lot of airliners, very expensive airliners. So they did a great deal of work on trying to find out what exactly the black hole effect was, and they put a whole bunch of very experienced airline pilots into the simulator and put him in a simulated situation, just as these pilots were. And the vast majority of them never got to the runway. They all landed short of the runway. And the airlines went, "Oh, this could really be a problem." And of course, it led to a lot more information about it, and so that when you know that there is a black hole effect likely to be at the airport you're going into, you brief it and you look for some other way some way to mitigate that threat, which is why it's so important.
Right. And so we're in a situation, there are no instrument landing system. There's not a nice electronic glide slope. There are no visual aids to your glide slope either. No VASI, no PAPI system to help guide you and stay on that 3 degree, which is the normal glide slope or ramp, as they refer to it here in this incident. So you have to have some way to figure out. Now, I kind of find it hard to believe that an airplane like this ATR doesn't have some kind of a system in its avionics, or like a navigation system with GPS and what I used to call a poor man's glide slope, using the RNAV system to kind of tell you where you want to be at a certain point in relation to the end of the runway. But back in the day, before we had all this fancy gear, again, I think this airplane did have this gear, but let's just say we're back in the 80s and 90s in a 727, like I used to fly. We didn't have any of this stuff. And if you went into a place, especially at night, that didn't have an instrument landing system to give you that glide slope, you had to be very, very careful. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to figure out, how am I going to determine how far away from the end of the runway am I? And knowing that a 3 degree glide path would be 300 feet per nautical mile. So at 300 feet, I should be 1 mile from the end of the runway. At 600 feet, I should be 2 miles from the end of the runway. And constantly flying the appropriate descent rate for whatever speed you're flying. And in this case, they've calculated that the descent rate should have been about 600 feet per minute for 120 knot ground speed. And they were at a much higher descent rate. So I remember some of these instances in the past when and even not into the too distant past, where they didn't have all these fancy things that we're normally used to having, and you'd have to really pay attention to your distance from the end of the runway and be constantly looking, doing that check of your altitude, your radio altimeter check, always constantly looking at your, cross-checking your vertical descent rate. In the airplane that I'm used to flying, it's usually 700, 800 feet per minute, based on the ground speeds that we're approaching the runway. And the other pilot backing you up with that information, calling out, I think you're 100 feet high. I think you're 100 feet low. Speed's good, sink's good, that kind of thing, all the way down until you actually acquire the runway and you're not affected by this black hole effect. But apparently they didn't do that in this case, far as I can tell.
No, apparently they didn't even brief it as a potential threat on their approach brief, which is surprising, because that's the time that we, generally speaking, cover the problems that we might encounter during our landing.
And just to throw in a little extra spice in this whole thing, the runway was narrower than normal as well. It was only 30 meters wide. So, Oh, KFC in our live audience says the Soy 1 arrival, a possible show title. Soy 1, yeah. Okay, interesting. Yeah, so that's just a classic, as Nick talked about, this black hole effect, a visual illusion. And you got to have some way of combating it. And that's why we have all these nice glide slope aids available to us. But there's going to be a time in your career, people, if you're doing this even if you're not doing it for a living, you pilots out there, there's going to be a time that you're going to have to go back to those old procedures where you're looking at your distance, looking at your altitude, just to make sure that you're on a proper glide path for the runway.
Yeah, indeed. Great advice, Jeff.
And you know what? I don't even think that, based on what we see and as far as the pictures and where they touch down, I'm not so sure they ever did really see the runway. And I'm wondering what was going through their heads. At what point did they say, you know what? Let's don't go down anymore. Let's go around, because
we should have landed by now. Let's.
So that was going to be my question is, do you guys think that they initiated a go around and then continue to sink and maybe hit the fence as they were going around? Or do you think that they realized something was wrong when the wheels touched down and it wasn't like a nice, smooth concrete runway? Because it says they went through a fence with concrete posts, severely damaged the propellers, which I got to imagine would cause some interesting noises and vibrations, and possibly made a decision that their best case scenario, even though they were on the ground at that point, was to take back into the air.
Yeah, they're probably looking out the window going, it doesn't look like a runway that we're on.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, I've seen that before. I think that's what they make soy sauce out of. It's not a runway.
It's bumpier than normal, and it's greener than normal. Maybe we should go around.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question, Nick. I don't know if they had already initiated the go around and they just touched down, or if they just hit and then go, you know what? I don't think we should be on the ground yet. UH Blackhawk probably noticed when they had to apply full power to taxi after landing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how a lot of Bonanza pilots realize they forgot to put the gear down, is when they can't taxi off the runway.
Yeah, that's always a good sign. Takes full power to taxi.
I love it. Love it.
Oh, boy. Okay, let me queue up okay, the which item? E? Okay. Present video file 1E. Okay. Oh yeah, this is a good one.
Unless you're the pilot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not a good one, but it's good for us aviation podcasters for us to talk about and make fun of. Actually, not make fun of, but just kind of.
No, that's not our prime reason for being here.
Yeah. All right. This next item from the Aviation Safety Network involves a Lance Air, which is that a kit-built airplane, Camacho?
Yep.
Okay. A Lance Air 4-P prop jet. And I didn't realize that you could actually put a turboprop into one of these Lance Airs.
Wow.
Must be pretty darn sporty airplane with that kind of an engine in it. Let's see, a Charles Hayes experimentally built Lance Air 4P prop jet, November 751 Hotel Papa, sustained substantial damage when it was involved in a runway excursion and collision with a motor vehicle at Aero Country Airport in McKinney, Texas. 2 occupants on board the aircraft and 1 person inside the vehicle sustained minor injuries. Turns out, preliminary information indicates the aircraft experienced pressurization problems shortly after reaching flight level 250. A rapid descent was conducted, and the airplane continued towards its destination. 1 go-around was conducted before the airplane landed on runway 17. It overran the runway and struck an occupied moving car on the road. So this started with an emergency descent, and now we're going to watch the video of this, which is quite interesting, I think. Here we go. Oh, boom! Ow!
A plane and a car collide on a McKinney road.
I saw the airplane coming down the runway quickly, knew that he wasn't going to have time to stop, and it was clearly going too fast. The tires were smoking.
Jack Schneider was working nearby and captured this video of the crash.
So I quickly pulled out my phone because I could tell something was about to happen, and I watched him go across the ditch, across the fence, through the fence, onto the road, onto the other road, and then, of course, the car and the airplane met.
The McKinney Fire Department rushed to the scene on eastbound Virginia Parkway around 12:30 Saturday afternoon. Those nearby watched in disbelief.
Usually when you drive, you check your left, you check your right. You don't check up though. Yeah, it was crazy. He was trying to land and the brakes didn't work.
First responders checked out the 2 people inside the plane that traveled in from Midland, as well as the driver of this vehicle. She was taken to the hospital for minor injuries.
She was definitely surprised. It wasn't, not something you expect to have happen to you.
Witnesses who spoke with the pilot said it was his first time landing at Aero Airport, and that he claimed the aircraft's reverse thrust, which slows the plane down, wasn't working.
It was still like completely surreal. I wasn't expecting it, obviously. Everybody's okay though, so we're all thankful that nobody was hurt.
In McKinney, I'm Stacia Wilson.
Oh boy. Nick, so I guess because it has the prop, the turbo prop fitted on it, and the type of propeller system that you use there, because it's a variable pitch or constant speed prop or whatever you call it, you have that, what is it called, beta, where you can put it basically like pushing the air the opposite direction, like a reverse thrust.
Yep, it gives you basically reverse. I don't know how common it is to use that on a Lancer. So this airframe is, you can kind of tell by looking at it. Like, that's a good view of it right there. Super efficient, really fast airframe, but it is not very forgiving. So it doesn't have a great safety track record. And then also, I think it probably lands and stalls quite a bit faster. So a lot of the Part 23 airplanes we fly stall in like the 60 knot range. And some of the stuff that I found on this airplane was that they stall around 73 to 75 knots. So it stalls a bit faster. So you're landing a bit faster. Yeah. And it's just a...
UH Blackhawk in our live audience says, I've flown the piston version. You have to land on speed, not slow, but not fast.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if whatever issue he was having, lost pressurization or whatever, it doesn't really specify exactly why pressurization was lost and what else was going on that he was having to deal with. Maybe it was something that required a much higher approach and landing speed than normal. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks like, as they said in the aerosafety.net article, that he had to go around the first attempt and come back around and try to land again.
Right. And the other thing, it mentioned was that, he went up to 25,000 feet, which is a common altitude for a turbine airplane to fly at, pressurized airplane to fly at. Rapid descent, but then he continued on to his destination. So it doesn't seem like it was a safety issue, maybe necessarily.
Yeah.
Because he flew to his destination. Now, he was in Midland and flew to McKinney, Texas. I think McKinney's right outside of Dallas. So it's not like a cross-country flight, but it's not like he turned around and landed it.
It is Texas, though. That's like 3 or 4 normal states.
That's true. Yeah.
KFC says, I wonder how they exchanged insurance afterwards. I know the woman in the car probably went home and said, honest, honey, an airplane hit the car. Yeah. Really? I mean, I'm not kidding. But yeah, so your point being 25,000 feet, you have a pressurization problem, you do an emergency descent probably down to 10,000 feet and go the remaining distance. In that kind of an airplane and that kind of a distance, it doesn't seem like a big deal, right?
No, I mean, obviously the fuel burn is going to be crushed flying that turbine down at 10,000 feet, but
right.
Obviously he thought he had plenty of fuel because he kept going. I mean, it seems, my point, I guess, was just that it doesn't seem like it was a flight critical situation because he continued on to his destination. At least that's what the news article said.
Yeah. I'm wondering what exactly else was going. It's like, gotta be something. I mean, if other than just the pressurization system not working in the way it's supposed to, it doesn't seem like it would have been a big deal. A normal flight, land, stop before the end of the runway. I'm wondering what else was going on here with this airplane we don't know.
I'm just looking at the stats that in the notes, Jeff. Looks like they were landing on 1,350 feet. I think that's
it's not a long runway.
And above are the prop jet statistics. and it says landing roll 1,400 feet. Now, obviously, that's dependent on a lot of factors, but a landing roll of 1,400 feet is 50 feet longer than this runway.
Well, the runway at McKinney, where he landed.
Well, I'm assuming it's just the last piece of information on the on the show notes.
I put that in there because I thought it might be something to talk about.
I'm assuming it's McKinney.
Oh wait, no, it's 4,000.
No, it's 4,300 feet is the length of the runway.
2 feet. I think there's 1,350 feet of turf on the north.
Okay. I misread that sentence. My apologies.
So I think he used the that extra bit of turf at the end of the runway as well before hitting the car.
Okay. He's got 3,000 feet of asphalt. Okay, so he should have been able to land in half the runway distance. Okay.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah, but there's no weather report, right? Like I poked through here and it didn't talk about anything in terms of tailwinds or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the winds were. Yeah, I don't know. Scratching my head on this one.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll hopefully find out more about this. If you're listening out there and you know something about this, let us know.
Yeah, if you're the pilot, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. Explain yourself, please.
Yeah.
What did you say, Liz, about? Yeah, but they left Midland, Texas, so maybe he met Texas and LaShock and said, "I got to get out of here. I got to go." That might be why he was so rattled, and ended up going off the end of the runway in McKinney. I don't know. Anyway, all right, let's do that. Time for the show where we get to know us, and excuse me. We have two Nicks here that we want to find out what's been going on with these two. So let's start with Nick Camacho.
Nothing. The rumors are not true.
Right. Camacho, what have you been up to? You've been doing a lot of traveling?
Yeah, I've been bouncing around for work. I got back from California a couple of weeks ago. I was home for a short period, and then I had to turn around and run down to Phoenix for a week. I just missed Miami Rick when I got down there. And that was, I guess, last week. And then turned around and ran back home in time for Thanksgiving. Yep, we had a good Thanksgiving, a quiet Thanksgiving here. My didn't have any other immediate family. It was just my folks and I. So we had a smaller little gathering there, and then watched a ton of football with the boys. And then on Saturday after Thanksgiving, we had a pretty severe snowstorm here. We got about 8 inches of snow in Wichita. And so spent the first half of Sunday managing all that, plowing or shoveling our driveway and helping my folks plow their driveway, and got everything squared away from that. And I've got a relatively calm week here at home this week of work before it looks like I may have another work trip next week. So unfortunately not making very much progress on my own airplane because I'm in and out so much, but that's about all I got.
All right. Well, we're glad that you were able to make it. I know that I'm glad we're doing a kind of a two-parter kind of setup for today's show, so that you were able to stay with us the whole first part. And yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about that. Captain Nick, you've been busy doing lectures and talks.
Yeah, I've been keeping myself busy, and if the lady I did the photo shoot for is listening, I don't think she does, but I'll promise I'll get to your pictures soon. Last night, I was delighted to get an invitation to return to Brooklands Museum in Weybridge because it's where the Royal Aeronautical Society, the Weybridge branch, meet. And the president, Mr. Alan Wynne, and the chairman, Mr. John Dunn, they invited me to attend their annual R.K. Pearson Memorial Lecture and a meal afterwards, which was absolutely delightful. An awful lot of very high-powered and well-qualified aviation experts there, engineers, pilots, test pilots, etc. And the food was lovely afterwards, all put on by the Brooklyn Museum. They have an area there which is all specially set aside for events, and they have a really nice kitchen. Wrong thing. Restaurant, I suppose, is the best way to put it. And we had a lovely. All that was sponsored by British Aerospace, which was absolutely great. But the thing I really wanted to talk about was the lecture given by Professor Ian Poll. He's got more letters after his name I can shake a stick at. For a start, he's an OBE, he's an FRE or FR-Eng, an FCGI with honours, an FAIAA, an FRAES, an Emeritus Professor of Aerospace Engineering at Cranfield University. And he was tackling the difficult subject of aviation and the environment. And he started off by telling us that at the current rate of expansion, which is just an exponential curve upwards, aviation, which is already gets a lot of bad press with regards our contribution towards global warming, is we're lining ourselves up for a fall, and if we don't do something to find a way to reduce our effect on the atmosphere, someone's going to do it for us, and much better that we do it ourselves than we have restrictions placed on us that might really hamper the industry. And he's this professor Paul very much on our side, and he said I believe that there is one way we can tackle this, and we might be able to reduce our effect on the atmosphere by up to 50%, which is an incredible reduction. Now, he's not talking about CO2, and he said one of the problems is everyone in the world is sort of zeroed in. They've put a microscope on the production of CO2, and it's very hard to reduce your carbon dioxide impact, your footprint, when you're burning aviation fuel, because it's the only way we can really make it work. And even if you're going to invent electric airplanes or hydrogen-powered airplanes, you're still going to have to create that energy, which at the moment we can't do very cleanly. He said one thing we could do right now, we could do it tomorrow, and we would have a dramatic effect on the damage we're doing to the atmosphere, would be to avoid laying permanent contrails. Now, it's a thing that he believes has a significant effect on the atmosphere by the fact that when you're flying and leaving persistent contrails, they spread out, they obscure the sky, they hold heat under the contrails, and because they spread out when they're in permanent conditions, that kind of very high humid area in the atmosphere, which is very cold, and you need an aircraft to fly through it to trigger the creation of contrails, which themselves can lead to further creation of high-level cirrus clouds. It's a well-known effect. You end up creating this kind of blanket over the Earth that has a significant effect and reflects heat back onto the Earth's surface. And of course, if you allow the sky to remain clear, the Earth will radiate that heat out into space, and it won't be a problem anymore. So he's suggesting that just in a similar way to the way we tackled volcanic ash when it became a big factor a few years ago, we locate the areas where you're going to encounter persistent contrails, and you don't fly in them. You deliberately avoid them. It only requires an adjustment of altitude of probably a couple of 1,000 feet if you were programmed or flight planned to go into an area and at that altitude where the persistent trails occur. You might be able to climb above. You probably will need to descend below. Either way, it's going to cost you, for the duration that you've adjusted your altitude, a small increase in fuel burn. But he said compared with the enormous saving of our environmental impact, that small amount of fuel burn increase is going to be insignificant compared with the percentage of improvement. It was a fascinating lecture. He, of course, supported it with a lot of facts and figures, a lot of very well reasoned arguments, a lot of data, which, of course, coming from a man of his notability, I took as gospel. I think, as we all should, when you've got an absolute expert in the field. And he said, what's more, if you do implement this and fly your aircraft or don't fly your aircraft in persistent contrail areas, he said, we will very quickly notice a difference, which, considering the amount of attention we're paying to the atmosphere, we will soon measure, and we will work out whether it's working or not. And he said, if we find out it's not working, or there's some side effect that we haven't thought of, we just say, okay, well, that didn't work, and we return to our original cruising levels. And he said, but if we discover that it is having a significant effect, it's something we could do very easily at almost negligible increasing cost. Obviously, if you adjust your ideal flight level from where you're going to consume the less fuel and adjust it by a couple of 1,000 feet, you're going to probably have perhaps a 1% increase in fuel burn. He said compared with the savings to the atmosphere, he says that's significant. Whether you can convince governments, considering we're talking about worldwide travel, whether you can convince the airlines to absorb that cost, whether you have to legislate or whatever, he said. But I think it's important to keep the conversation going, because I know we've already mentioned this in a couple of articles that came in our news before. It's really interesting to chat to someone who knows an enormous amount about it and was able to field all the questions, including mine, which was, well, how do we detect it in the aircraft? How do pilots tell if we're leaving persistent trails or not? And he said, oh, yeah, well, if you had a mirror, yes. sadly, we don't. Yeah, we'd need a camera pointing backwards, but even though that, it'd be hard to tell the difference between non-persistent and persistent trails. He said, oh no, you just need one gauge, a relative humidity indicator, that will tell you when you're in an area of the atmosphere where the humidity is high enough to create persistent trails. And he said, apart from that, the military...
The hardest part, though, with that is that opening up the window when you're up at
you just stick it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're quite right. Yeah, we might have to think about that. But he said the military already have an intimate knowledge of when trails, and they did back in, when I joined the Air Force back in the 70s, we're already there, able to predict with great accuracy where trails would occur, because it's a great tactical piece of knowledge, to not leave a footprint pointing at your airplane when you're trying to creep up on someone. So
yes,
it was very important to avoid them.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm a little confused. You keep referring to these things as contrails, but I thought they were weren't they aren't they
Chemtrails,
actually
yeah.
Chemtrails?
Well, we try not to talk about that, but yeah.
Yeah, KFC says chemtrails. They're not controlling our minds.
Yeah,
They're
I think
warming.
the advantage is that they're developing a chemtrail that's a bit like the stuff you spray in your toilet to get rid of the smell. You don't see that, do you? It just changes the smell. So when you spray that, it's no visible spray. That's what the new chemtrails will be. It'll be like a toilet odor thing, bottle spray. There you go.
All right. Yeah, sounds very interesting. And then you said that you're going to be speaking, what, tomorrow?
Oh, indeed, yes. In fact, yes, Jose in the chat room is hosting me at a dinner. He's one of our listeners and has been for some time, but he's invited me to speak at his company's Christmas dinner. They make pharmaceuticals. So they're the radioactive element of those things that get injected into you when you go for a scan, so that the scanner can detect it. Yeah, it makes you glow in the dark.
So they'll be able to see you when they're looking for your body after you are walking back from the train station.
Oh yeah, they'll
like
be able
tomorrow
to
night
find me.
with
Yeah,
the
curled up
radioactive-
around a bush. Anyway, he's Jose is interested in the safety aspects of his job and making sure that everything is done correctly, sort of quality assurance, and so he asked for an after-dinner speech about threat and error management. And considering I was usually the threat and I made most of the errors, everyone else was trying to manage me. So,
So you're intimately
about,
intimate with
indeed,
knowledgeable
indeed.
with,
So I'm going to
managing.
bore them for 20 minutes or so after their dinner in London tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to meeting Jose and chatting to all his company colleagues.
I can just hear it now. He steps up to the what do you call it? The speaking place, the dais, or that's called something else. Yeah, lectern maybe. And he goes, "Wait a minute."
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Well, I must admit, the first 5 minutes is all about that. Absolutely. It's trying to justify why I'm standing up spouting to all these people who would have been to university and got multiple degrees and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, it's just a bunch of letters. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want
I
to
had a quick question.
Cover art.
Yeah. Oh wait, Camacho has a question.
Was it just me, or did Nick keep saying they were measuring the relative humility? He wasn't saying
humility.
that? Okay.
There's no humility on the flight deck.
Okay.
I promise
Well, you're not
you.
going to find any humility. On
Well,
the flight
that's
deck,
what
for sure.
that's what I was going to say. Is the only thing that's going to be harder to change than the climate is pilot Yeah.
Especially the,
I love it.
former fighter pilots. I mean, it's really hard.
Yeah. I'm just writing this down as a show title.
All right. So let's quickly, before we end part one, talk about the cover art from our last episode that we titled At One with the Submarine, in reference, of course, to the accident at Kaneohe Bay in the Marine Corps Air Station in Oahu, Hawaii.
Yeah, this is exactly how I fondly imagined that the Air Force were going to use their 737 anti-submarine aircraft.
That was the Navy, not the Air Force.
Oh, it was the Navy, was it? Oh, I'm sorry. I assumed it was the Air Force.
I'm
Oh,
sure
there
you
you go. The U.S. Navy were going to employ their 737s was actually to sink them and have them motor around hunting them underwater. So I thought it would be an appropriate picture to have a 737 floating around beneath the surface of the sea, seeking out submarines. In fact, I even put a periscope on the top of the 737 there, so you could hunt your submarines. And it sports a very nice set of logo from the APG. And for anyone who was trying to find the show number, this weird looking submarine I found, it's one thing that I thought AI wasn't very good at, was creating a nuclear submarine. It really had absolutely no idea what a nuclear submarine looked like. But if you look on those funny looking circles on the protuberance from the port side of this submarine, you'll see the last three little circles have the numbers in.
I guess, and I don't have it set up to zoom in on. So,
what a shame.
We'll have to look at your own version of it and open it up in something that you can zoom in.
But I thought that Midjourney did a reasonable job of making a 737. That was quite good. Although it did give him a double set of nose gear. I think that's probably because the average 737 pilot bangs the nose down. But I actually had to cut out an entire set of nose wheels.
And it looks like the main gear wheels are like nose wheel.
Yes, they are tiny, aren't they?
Yeah. And then the other thing I noticed that the winglets are kind of like Airbus sharklets or something. Not the typical Boeing kind of style.
A guppy in its natural environment. Very good.
Environment.
Yes.
That's from
nice one.
Our live audience, UH Blackhawk. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. I loved it. I love that look of the water, the light coming from the surface of the water above.
Indeed. In fact, that is a combination of two pictures because I couldn't get the airplane and the submarine. It wouldn't make it all in the same picture. So we've got a submarine, and then I've had to add that to the picture.
Well, you know what, Nick? You are doing your part to confuse AI
yes.
by doing these things, right?
I know.
Asking for these crazy things.
Yeah.
And
it struggles at times.
Crazier than I thought. Yeah, let's do, how much time do we have? Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, let's do a couple of pieces of feedback then. And then we can experiment with people calling in. All right. And what did we decide we were going to do? We're going to do 3. Okay. All right. Number 3 from Sam Dawson. And he's sometimes with us in our live audience. I'm sorry. What did you say, Liz? Oh, sure. I can do the feedback bumper. Here it is.
Captain, incoming message.
All right. First piece of feedback we're going to tackle today in part 1 is from Sam. And sometimes he's here with us in the live audience. Doesn't look like it today. He's probably out there making a living. Captain Jeff, in episode 593, you discussed the NTSB initial report on the crash in Kentucky that took the life of an instructor and his student. In the discussion of being an effective instructor, you discussed the importance of student feedback, and this is something I wish I had done earlier in my career. I was lucky enough to have a good instructor when I attended the IP course, the instructor pilot course, but the environment for teaching at that time was not the best. I think belittling and demeaning feedback was even one of the topics that was covered in the IP course. I would half joke that we wore flight helmets to protect our heads when we got whacked by our IP. I really could have used some student feedback early in my career and didn't realize I was not creating the best environment for learning until years later. I was giving a young pilot straight out of flight school his local orientation and aircraft checkout training during a combat mission into Iraq when I realized that the other pilot was more nervous about flying with me and getting chewed out than he was about being shot down. I definitely was not creating an effective learning environment. I would like to say a switch flipped and I immediately changed. While I did not, I did at least take a look in the mirror and resolve to change, something that's taken time. Having said that, I never aired dirty laundry or spoke poorly about another pilot outside of those who had a, quote, need to know, such as the standards instructor, pilot, and the commander. Since I flew with enlisted crew members as well, I also emphasized to them that what took place in the aircraft stayed in the aircraft. The accident you covered will be discussed for years. Keep the sunny side up, Sam Dawson. Yeah, he was referring to, or what I was referring to in episode 593 was that incident where the instructor pilot was doing like a TikTok video and demeaning the student pilot and just treating him horribly. And then at the end of it, forced the two of them to fly into some pretty severe thunderstorm activity. And that basically destroyed the training airplane that they were in and killed both of them. But it was really appalling at the way that this instructor was, quote unquote, instructing his student. All right. Thank you, Sam. Next one is 4, and oh, that's right. It does involve some video. So let me get that teed up. And this is, yeah, Nick is the one that kind of had the interaction with this Captain Nick.
Absolutely, yes.
Let me load up the thing and get it queued up to the right place first, if you don't mind. What did I say? 1302? Is that somebody have access to my notes?
Yeah, queue to 1302.
Thank you. Well, I can get close. How about 1258? Okay. So your turn, Captain Nick.
Oh, certainly, yeah. Kevin Dryden sent this in, and he suggested we take a look at it, and it is an analysis of the Lufthansa 458, I think it was, the A350 that was trying to make an arrival into San Francisco, and he was trying to explain to the controller that his company prevented him from flying an approach where he had to maintain visual separation on other aircraft at night. He could do it during the day, but it wasn't day anymore. And the controller said, well, with that restriction, I'm going to have to take you out of the sequence and we'll delay you. Anyway, that delay went on and on and on until the pilot, the captain, was in the end forced more or less to divert to an airfield, quite a close airfield. We commented that that diversion would have been not in an ideal, conducted in an ideal way because he had very little time to prepare for it. He had probably never been there before, and it was already at the end of a very long flight for him. He was obviously getting short of fuel because he'd been delayed in a kind of holding pattern for quite a while. Anyway, there were lots of factors there to discuss. And Kevin mentioned that another, in this case, a YouTube video, Captain Laura Savino, whose channel is called Jet Boss, and she made very similar comments about our analysis. She saw exactly the same pitfalls, including one where, she said the diversion would have been, not conducted in an ideal manner, she's sure. Anyway, I wrote to Laura, and because I was particularly interested in her story at the end of this piece she did, where she discussed what happened when she had been making an approach and the air traffic controller turned off the ILS. Now, when you're making a visual approach and someone turns off the ILS, you'd think that wouldn't matter because you're making a visual approach. But in fact, even when we're making visual approaches, we like to use every facility that's at our disposal to ensure we conduct it as safely as possible. That just goes without saying. And the ILS beam is an ideal way just to back up your information that your eyes are giving you, particularly if it's at night. And we've just talked about the black hole effect that can happen to pilots. And this is the sort of thing we like to have with us, providing us with additional information. She contacted the air traffic controllers and got an unexpected response. So I think we can probably play this. She's given us permission to play this piece of her YouTube video. So perhaps we could go ahead.
Yeah, here we go.
I don't know. Maybe Europe is onto something. All right, I'm just going to talk about one quick incident, and then I'm going to be done, I promise. And this one is my own. I was coming into land. This was a few years back, coming into land into Washington Dulles on one left. It was at night. We accepted a visual. It was the end of a very long day. We were tired. And I tune in the ILS as a backup for vertical and lateral guidance, but we're flying the visual. Well, as I'm on final, my indicators just kind of went crazy. I got a ghost glide slope, and then everything just pegged out. So wasn't sure what that was all about, but just flipped everything off and just looked at the runway and landed visually. It was no big deal, but I did tell the controller, after landing, I think there's a problem with the ILS. And the controller came back and said, no, we just turned it off. Like while we were on final, they just turned it off. So I try to explain, well, even though we're cleared for a visual, we're still using our instruments. We're still looking for that guidance on our instruments. And the controller was not hearing it. So I wrote a letter to the airport, to the controllers, a nice letter, just letting them know that even though we're on visuals, we're still using our instruments. And they posted a letter in their break room, and somebody gave me the letter back. And apparently there was a lot of handwritten notes all over my letter, all sorts of derogatory, really nasty things about pilots, and just, it was not helpful. And they didn't want to hear it. So, all right. So I accept that, but it does kind of have me wondering, pilots, we have to go through CRM training, which is cockpit resource management, which means that we're constantly being taught how to work together, be a team member, really think about what the other employees are doing and their perspective, and, put all that together to increase safety in every way that we possibly can. And I don't know, I kind of think maybe we should include air traffic controllers in that mix, right? Maybe we should bring them in, and we should do a little bit of training together so we can understand each other's perspectives and each other's challenges, and what we're all doing there. Because everybody wants every aircraft to land safely. And, I have no doubt of that. So we can always do things better and always come up with new ways to increase safety. And I don't know, these incidents just kind of have me thinking. All right, well, good night, everybody. Thank you for hanging in there. For those of you that are still here at the end, I very much appreciate it. And everybody, have a great night.
All right. Thank you, Captain. That was a great video. And she's so right. Communication and then having respect for each other and trying to help each other out, because we are kind of really supposed to be on the same team, right?
Oh, indeed. Yeah. We're all on the same side. We're all trying to do our jobs as professionally as we can. And it really disappoints me when one of our, brethren gets this kind of response from what she obviously thought was just a gentle reminder explaining why that piece of equipment is important to us, and perhaps you could have waited until you landed before you turned the damn thing off. So,
well, you know what? Not all air traffic controllers feel the same way as the controllers did at Dulles International, Washington, because just so has it that, or coincidentally, I was listening to not the latest episode, but at the time it was the latest episode of Opposing Bases. And they were discussing, I think one of their listeners had written in and asked about, asking for and receiving an opposite direction of approach, and how much hassle does that cause the air traffic controllers to, is it something as simple as just, flipping a switch and then the localizer goes the other direction for the opposite direction kind of approach. And anyway, and then RH, one of the hosts said this. So let's take a listen.
So when you turn the airport around, you have to do the switch on both those aids for both parallels, and you have to wait for the alarm process, which takes time. And you can't have everybody on the old one when you turn it off. They'll get mad when you shut off their guidance.
Yep.
Yes.
Even if they're on the visual, you should wait. That's bad form. Unless you tell them, hey, can you turn your automation off? Or, hey, I'm going to turn the localizer off. Because if they're using the ILS to get down and you turn it off, that's not good. That's kind of mean.
Yes. And if you forget to switch it back because you ran in opposite direction, and then you go back to normal and you're clearing people for visuals and the localizer is off, they're going to ask, hey,
well, what's happening?
Is this broken? I didn't notice it. I didn't see a NOTAM for a broken ILS. No, it's not. I just failed to turn it around.
I love that. Hey, what's happening?
Well, the lovely thing is those guys are also pilots, so they see things from our perspective as well, which is great.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. UH Blackhawk again from our live audience says, for a while in our recurrent training, an Atlanta controller would come in. It's very helpful to get the back and forth with them. Yes. Having good relations, good communication with air traffic control is very important. And he said, iHall Boxes says, I would have taken note of their names and presented them to the FAA. Such attitude has no place in aviation. Now you're talking about RH and AG? Okay.
That's why we don't know their names. They hide behind their initials. No, I agree entirely. Because that might not be the best way of approaching it. Because if you're trying to smooth things over and create a better relationship, sending their names into the FAA is rather an escalation that might, be pretty counteractive. But there you go.
All right. And then we'll wrap it up with item 11. And I'm trying to find that myself right now. Here we go. We're scrolling down. This is from Dennis. He says, greetings, APG crew. I'm a short-time listener, and I am thoroughly enjoying the show. I'm writing in regard to the incident that was talked about in the news segment on episode 594 with the JetBlue aircraft that had the push tug get stuck under the engine. I used to work for a regional airline that was owned by Acme and based in Cincinnati. On one night, we had our last flight come in for the night. We parked the plane, a CRJ 200, between two other CRJs. I was the wing walker. I noticed the aircraft wing was on course to hit the wing of one of the aircraft. I gave the marshaller the X sign to tell the pilot to stop. He gave the pilot the sign to stop. But the pilot ignored the sign and continued to taxi in and struck the wing of the other aircraft. The whole time he's saying, I am the pilot. I do not have to stop unless I want. After getting the passengers off the plane, the flight crew immediately left for the hotel. But myself and the marshaller were forced to stay and get an on-site drug test. I'm surprised they didn't drug test the pilots too. The following day, which was my scheduled day off, I got a call from my station manager informing me that he had a conference call with the regional manager and the chief pilot who wanted both myself and the marshaller fired. Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. However, my manager informed both the regional manager and the chief pilot that if we got fired, then they were going to need a new station manager. Yeah, that's somebody standing up for his employees.
Good man.
When pressed about what discipline came upon the flight crew, the chief pilot got mad and said, I don't discuss that with anyone. and hung up. Okay. Let's see. The marshaller and I were suspended for the rest of that week. I also wanted to say that I really enjoy the diversity of the crew members. I enjoy hearing the different sides of the aviation world, from the GA side with Dr. Steph and the maintenance side with Camacho, and how things work on the other side of the pond with Captain Nick. And who can forget Liz? No one.
Well, certainly we can't. We try, but we
We
can't.
try, yeah. We just can't forget her, sadly. Liz does a great job producing the show. He puts in there. I guess he's assuming that if he didn't put that in here, we wouldn't be reading his feedback right now. Liz said it. He's right. He says, keep up the great work. Keep the blue side up. Dennis Tyson. Thank you, Dennis. I'm glad that you're with us on the APG team. And yeah, good to have you here. Hopefully, you'll be able to contribute some more with us, and we'll get a chance to meet you in person at some point in the future. All right. I think that's going to do it for part one. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us this last hour and a half or whatever. And if you can, make sure that you look for our tweets or X posts or whatever they're calling them, and Facebook posts and all the social media stuff, letting you know when we are going to record part 2 with Dr. Steph and who knows who else. But we'll have to wait and see. So thanks. So that's basically all the content for part 1, but we're not going to leave quite yet. Now, the 2 Nicks, if they want to leave, you're more than welcome to. If you,
I'll finish my beer, but I just need to nip off to the loo, and then I'll return.
Okay.
Yep. I'm probably going to take off. So.
All right. Thanks.
Okay. Cheers, Nick.
Yep.
Good to
nice
see
to
you.
see you
See
again.
you guys next time.
All right. Take care, man. All right. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this link in the show notes, not show notes, in the chat room. Here we go. Boom. Okay. And so now, if you click on that, now, I don't know how many people are going to do it. We can only have a total of 10. Right now, there's only. Okay. So basically, because Liz, even though you're not in the big screen, I think that you're counted as, so I would say that we have 3, so we could have as many as 7. I don't want to really have that many at one time. So if you end up using that link to join us, we'll see you. Yeah, you want to, and I think that's probably talked about in that link for guest instructions. Make sure you have the following: a laptop or desktop with a webcam and mic, recent version of Chrome, Edge, Firefox, or Opera, a strong internet connection. That's one that a lot of people don't have. And we also recommend wearing earbuds or headphones to prevent audio echoes. Let's see here. I'm going back. I had to leave the window for StreamYard. So, looks like iHaul Boxes is attempting to join us, but it says devices not connected. So what happens is below we see what you're seeing right now on the live stream, and then below that we have a whole bunch of different things that we can use to manage the stream. One of which is the video thumbnails of everybody on the crew. Yeah, you can. If you want to, yeah, sure. You'd have to. Yeah, you can do that. I don't know if it's going to make much difference, but you'll get to see what they experience. So that might be kind of interesting. Yeah, you'd have to go. Well, you'd have to probably, if you want to get the link and copy it, Liz, just hit the invite button at the bottom and then hit the copy button, and then it'll be in your what do you call it? It says invite. I do see. Oh, Micah has joined us. All right. Okay, we're going to bring Micah on in. Hello, Micah.
Hello, boys. How are you?
Hello, Micah. Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Let me. I got to change. I don't know. I'm not familiar with StreamYard, so I'm not sure how to get it through my headphones. Let me look at settings.
Well, you go to settings and then
Audio.
under audio and then
And speakers.
Yes.
And Scarlet USB. Now I should be able to hear you in my headphones.
Okay, can you hear us in your headphones?
Look at that. Look at how easy.
Amazing. It works.
There you go.
So it's great to be able to be on with you guys. It's been a long, long time.
Yeah. Hey,
Indeed.
I see that is that an ATR 2100 you have there?
Yes, it is.
Thanks for the tip, Micah. What was it? $29, I think. I picked up a couple extra ATR 2100Xs thanks to main man Micah.
Yeah, I saw the
telling me
deal,
about
and it was
that.
$29 unless you were Brian Coleman. For some reason, he got his for $27.12. But
Oh, well, good for him.
but they sold out very, very quickly. It was an incredible deal.
So, can you see the comments from the stream on the left side, Micah?
I cannot. Oh,
You
wait,
can't?
yes, hang on. I got it. There it is. Yes, I can now.
Okay, because iHaul Boxes is giving you some crap.
Oh, my levels are off. Yeah, I'm sure they are.
Love it.
I think he's pimping you a little bit.
Nah, he would never do that. He
Uh-huh.
doesn't have a sense of humor or anything. What a great
No.
guy. So I just thought I'd come on and say hello
thanks.
real quick. I don't want to. I knew you were waiting for other people to get in, and I don't want to take up any spaces. But I wanted to show people how easy it was.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah. We're gonna add somebody else. I think his former name was Captain Jeff is Great. Now he's changed it back to Neil Landworm, which I don't like as much. All right, Neil, you're with us.
Hi.
Hi, Neil.
Hello. How's it going? Good to see you, man.
He's concentrating on the
I don't
settings.
think you
I'm
can
sure.
hear us, though. All right. Can you hear us?
If his name were Tommy, I could sing a Who song.
Hello. Can you hear me?
That's good.
Hello.
I could hear lots of streams all at once, but now it's fun.
Okay.
Who else are you listening to?
Yeah, wait. Are you listening to some other live stream while you're
Yes.
watching our live stream?
What's going on?
Excuse me.
Neil, it's so
right.
great to be able to put a face with a name.
And say, well, I would say same to you, Mike, but I've seen your face before.
I'm so sorry. I apologize for that.
Well, I tell you, no. In real life, Neil looks even more handsome, which is hard to believe. I mean, he looks great here in this.
Well, I know. I usually
video.
look tidy in this, but you know.
Oh yeah, nice.
But not as handsome Jeff, I'm guessing.
Well,
you're talking about the good-looking Captain Jeff?
The good-looking Captain Jeff.
Yeah.
So look, I will let you guys have a good time. I really don't want to take up space that somebody else might come into. And I will say to both of you, Captain Nick and Captain Jeff, that I will see you on Saturday.
Yes, you will. You'll see me. You on Saturday, Jeff?
I mean, when we do the part 2?
No.
Oh, no. On part. Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yes, I will see you Saturday morning.
Okay, super. Look forward to it.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Liz, Micah, are you still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah. Can you hear, was Liz, were you just talking to us on Unity? Was that what you were doing? That's why Micah didn't hear you. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we have a back channel that's a separate system than what we're using here.
I know. Well, knowing Liz as well as I do, she says things that can't be said, over YouTube.
Oh, that's a good thing. She's not on the
Well,
air,
exactly right. Yeah.
But
you should have heard what she said about you.
Well, it doesn't matter what she says. I still say she's lovely, Liz.
She is lovely, Liz. The little note there on the recordings, Liz, is that it says Micah has low storage space, amongst other problems, I'm sure. And Nick C has not completed their upload. Oh no, Nick. We're gonna have to get back.
Did he leave before we finished?
Yes, Nick.
Nick.
Maybe. What does it say? Share the link below for them to continue their upload. Okay. So I'll copy this and then I'll message Camacho, or maybe, yeah, I can do that. So you guys talk amongst yourselves. How's it going over there, Neil?
It's good. It's cold.
Yeah, it is a bit tonight, isn't it? It's -1 outside right now.
Yeah, it's ice on the car the last couple of days,
Yikes.
But what's today? Friday?
No, Thursday.
Thursday. Okay, so you're going to work tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, damn. Oh, well, that's a shame.
Yeah, we're drowning in Christmas already.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. My wife has decided that right now, as it's so bloody cold, it's a great time to clear out the loft. So we've been doing trips to the tip today. I'm going, really, in this weather? But apparently it is, what they're like.
Yeah.
Go to the what did you call it?
The tip.
Oh, okay.
The household refuse dump. Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah, I thought you said TIT. You're going to go to the what?
I wouldn't be complaining about that. I promise you.
No, you've got to clear everything out in time to fill it again.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I think I sent him the link to come back so that we can continue loading his. Now it says it's complete.
It's complete now. Perfect.
Sorry, Nick. I guess it was mostly downloaded. Sorry about that. We just got this message that said that it wasn't completely uploaded. So,
hi, Nick. Bye, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
You got what you need from me?
Yeah, that's all we needed.
It's just only took like maybe 5 seconds, and then it said, "Okay, it's complete."
Okay.
Oh wait, no, wait. Now it says it says uploading. Interesting.
Well, you added me again, right? So when I wasn't in the stream,
yes, of course, it'll be starting a new recording.
Well,
so let me hop out of the stream, and I'll stay on the site.
Yeah.
And see if that works.
That's my fault. Bye.
All right. See ya.
Oh, you're the one that did that, huh?
Yeah. Wow, I saw him skulking there.
Yeah, well, that was just to finish his upload. That's all. Okay, complete. Yay. Perfect. Okay. Anybody else in the live audience want to join us?
Well, I'm surprised Pip hasn't joined in.
Tanya, why don't you join us? Or Tim Van Ram? I don't know. Do you think we really want to have Tim join us? That might be a bad idea. Jeremy Lemaire, I think he said this is the first time he's been with us on the live. Okay.
Yeah, don't ask him to join. He'll crash his car trying to work out how to do it.
Sorry.
All I had to fiddle with was getting output through the earphones and the input through the microphone and getting it separate. But it wasn't too difficult.
Yeah, but it looks like you knocked it out pretty quickly there, and you can hear
it. Sounds okay from your end?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good.
Oh boy, Tim Van.
Oh no, God!
Add him to the stage.
We need to put an extra filter on.
Hey.
Hey, how's San Francisco? Oh, you
really,
take your head out of the bucket.
Did you? Are you sitting on your microphone? It sounds like it. Yeah, what kind of microphone are you using? Because it's horrible.
A piece of string and a baked bean can.
Picture's good though.
No.
Yeah, we see you fine.
Yes, good picture.
It's really hard, like muffled sound.
Did you go and put that shirt on specially?
No.
You mean you always wear those? That's terrible.
Who is this we're looking at? Itsy?
Oh. Where's Bitsy?
This is me.
Say hi, Willie. Willie.
Willie.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello, Willie.
Oh no, she's around here somewhere.
Now is that?
Oh,
I
it's
can't
great to
tell.
see
Is
you.
that your home or is that your? Or no? Look, the RV would be pretty big
No,
if
we're
that
at
was your
home.
RV. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, much larger than your RV. Now you're. Are you allowed to say
Ooh,
where
nice.
you are? What location geographically? Very nice. Novato, right? Are you in Novato?
Yep, Nevada,
Cool.
Marin County.
Yeah, beautiful place. Beautiful place.
Yep.
Do you know Alex Lindsay? I know there are a few people that live in Novato. He's the guy that I watch every day that runs Office Hours, audio-visual production kind of thing. That live stream he does a couple hours every day of the week, every day of the year. Anyway, he lives in Novato. Anyway, well, I'm glad that you were able to make it on. Yeah. Although, if you want to join us for the 600th, Tim, you're going to have to come up with a better microphone solution. Because is it the microphone in your computer that you're using?
Yeah. It's just a laptop mic.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, it sucks.
He's so polite, isn't he?
I
You
knew
know
I could
you're
say
a
that
true friend when you get insulted like that.
I knew that I could say that to Tim and you wouldn't be offended.
Pip's complaining about your Christmas tree, Tim.
It's up too early, huh? Yeah.
Well, my wife's been decorating for 2 weeks, and she has hired help. So
Talking about you?
no, she cannot get along putting stuff up. I put something up, and she takes it down. So she has her hired help.
Gotcha. I'm in your camp, Pip. Yeah, this is just Advent, not Christmas. iHall Boxes says Pip looks like he forgot the mistletoe. Oh, we're gonna look outside. He's gonna brag now about where he lives.
Oh,
wow.
good Lord!
Wow,
nice.
Garden.
That's your wife's garden?
Yep.
Wow.
Where's yours?
Yeah, over in the corner.
Out of sight of camera. You don't want to show that to the world.
But I
Nevada's
got
such a beautiful
one
place.
thing that Nick would like to see.
I'm not sure I would.
Oh no! What are
my
we?
wife makes dog angels.
Oh, good Lord! What are we looking at?
Those are dog angels.
Oh my God!
Angels.
These
Here, wait,
are-
let me. I'm gonna solo him so we can see it a little bit better.
Oh wow! Oh, look at those!
Oh, that's
oh, good
sweet.
Lord! There's a Labrador and a greyhound, and it looks like the Pink Panther's in there.
Where did you get these things, Tim?
Well,
Poodle.
we get regular angels and we whack their heads off.
You know what? That's going to catch up with you someday.
Oh, I love it.
Oh,
that's great.
And the big one is Mary, Mother of Dog.
Oh, excellent. Very good.
You know, next time you're around, Tim, I'm going to stay about 10 feet away. Just, I don't know if that's going to be enough clearance for the lightning strike, but very cute.
I love it.
I don't mean to hog everything, but I don't get on screen that much, so I had to show you around a little bit.
Oh yeah, well I'm glad you did,
Say it.
and I so wish I was able to join the meetup that you held a few years back at your home in Novato.
Yeah, it was fun.
That looked like a lot of fun, and maybe you can do another one when I'm out there in my home on wheels, and
Absolutely.
yeah, I look forward to that.
Cube.
And no, you Tim is an RV guy as well. Tell us about your RV?
I have a Class A. It's small. It's a 27-foot.
Uh-huh.
So it doesn't have a bedroom per se. It has a magic bed that comes down from the ceiling.
Oh wow!
But it's really comfortable for the two of us. It's and the dogs love it.
Yeah.
But it's a 2005 Safari Monaco. It's got all these names with a big gasoline engine that gets about 3.5 miles a gallon.
Oh, wow.
But it's got all the to home.
Is it made by Monaco?
It is, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They were a good manufacturer up in Oregon, I think.
Exactly right.
Yeah, not too far from Country Coach, or I think they were like right next to each other or
Pretty
something.
high quality rig, and I was
Yeah.
lucky enough to get it from a friend of mine a couple of years ago. It only had 10,000 miles on it.
Wow. And what year was that?
2005.
Wow. So I've been looking. I mean, I think I'm sticking with the leisure travel van, but I've been looking at. I think I mentioned to you in email that the Country Coach in Junction, Oregon, same as Monaco. They went out of business in 2009, I think, during the recession. But they've got some amazing coaches, like 2007, 2008 Magnas, 45 footers, like quad slides and the whole bit. Man, they just look beautiful. I mean, and people that have bought these things have been keeping them in great condition and as you said, quality. The all those companies up there made super high quality stuff.
That they did. And the bigger you get in an RV, the more you're going to stay inside. And I really like to expand to the outside, so you get to know your neighbors.
Yeah.
And have more of a social activity than just pulling up, parking, and going inside and watching TV. So mine's good for that.
Yeah.
Weather's
I'm
bad.
very antisocial, so that wouldn't be a big deal for me.
That's why I got a big kick out of seeing this one down on the corner. That was the Unity. I had to go take pictures of it. I said, "Oh my God, I've never seen one before." So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Thanks for thinking about me, but I don't like that particular floor plan, and I think if I'm going to go this route, I'm going to go with brand new and.
Well, I was more thrilled to see one of those in my neighborhood than
that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for thinking about me and sending the information. Appreciate that. I think Liz is trying to get you to go to bed, Captain Nick. But yeah, she is tired of you, I think. Well, you know what? So that everybody can hear you, Liz, I'm going to go ahead and add you to the stage. Okay. Here we go. All right.
Hi, Liz.
Yeah, she's still muted.
Hi, Nick. Sorry, I didn't know you're still drinking your beer.
I'm just finishing my beer and having a few nibbles.
That's fine.
But, yeah, I'll go to bed soon, Mum. Promise.
No, stay as long as you can, as you like. Anyway, great to see you, Tim and Neil. Hi.
You too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is working okay. Nobody else wants to...
No, I think that's it, I think.
Now, iHaul Boxes tried, but I guess something
I think he said he didn't have enough... he didn't...
bandwidth?
No, I think it was the equipment.
No, he didn't have a mic or a camera.
Right. Well, yeah, you need both of those.
Yeah. two essentials.
Yes, no mic or camera, exactly. That's what he said, yeah. So.
And iHaul Boxes, I wouldn't worry about getting any of that stuff either. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, we don't want to see you.
Yeah, if you can't find them, that's really not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this could work for the 600th. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, and we could just pop people in and out. And we have Ludger here.
Cool.
I don't know. Hopefully you weren't there too long, sir. I just noticed you. Have you been there for very long?
Waiting
to come in.
Hi.
Hi, Luca. Have you been waiting long?
Not really. I just tried to set it up correctly. I have a very old Mac and I didn't expect it to work, but funnily enough, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see a German orange flying suit behind you.
Yeah, long time ago.
You'd laugh. I just got my one that was gifted to me by a pilot on a Phantom Squadron in Germany, who they were the Zapatas. Viva Zapata, they all used to shout. And I've just brought it down from the loft, wondering what on earth to do with this bright orange flying suit.
Okay.
Is the orange
I got
so
some
that you'll
funny
be
sound effects
much
because
easier
I
to
hear
find when you
I hear you
crash?
twice. Time split. I think I have to shut down the other window, most likely, because it was really difficult to understand because I had two voices coming
Oh,
in
yeah.
part, so it was hard to listen. But anyway, I don't want to keep you. I was just very interested in seeing if it worked. So
Yeah.
perhaps at another time,
It certainly does.
I dare try it again.
Yeah.
Now,
Next time, remember to close the other window.
Yeah, I just did. Now it works. It's because I was hearing
Yeah.
some strange noise. I was thinking, is my brain missing something? No, it was really.
Well,
just
that
think
could
I had the
be.
same
We're not
problem.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
This
guess
is
that'll
fun.
be
This is
something.
really
This is good because we'll remember to remind people that if you do join us, make sure that you like mute the other window or just close out of it completely so that you don't get confused.
Yeah, right. But for the simple equipment I have, it's working quite nice. It's
great.
just
Yeah.
the shocks headsets, and it does it.
Excellent.
I should be in bed because I got to get up early tomorrow, but I couldn't leave. I had to stay.
Okay. Now,
What
why-
happened there?
I don't know. Somebody soloed himself, I think.
Thanks for joining, Ludger.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So,
We'll see you next.
yeah, next time I just have to find out studio. Yeah, I know how to leave. So enjoy your evening. Thank you very much. See you next time.
All right.
Bye.
Nice to see you, sir.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Now, is that you, Captain Nick, that's doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also speaking, but of course I was muted, so that didn't work very well.
No. Actually, it did.
Yeah, thank you. No, I wanted to catch a look at his flying jacket to see what squadron he had on that, but I didn't recognize it. Looked like he had some kind of flying horse emblem on his jacket.
Pegasus?
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys can see the chat room messages and comments, right? On the right side. Okay. And that's probably all. Is there another thing that says private chat?
Yeah.
Okay. And then what else? Is there any other items on that right-hand column that you see?
Comments and recording.
Recording.
And recording. Okay.
Yeah.
But you don't see banners, brand, that kind of stuff, because I think that would all be for us.
No.
Okay. And then how about below the big screen that we're all in right now? Do you see the thumbnails of everybody down below?
I got You're in the Show. I've got uploading recordings, and I can see everybody in my window.
Okay.
So,
but like below the big window, can you see?
I just see myself.
I don't see anything apart. I don't see any thought. I see myself.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
But
that's
nobody
it.
else, I guess.
Okay. I'm just kind of
Nobody
curious
else, no.
what you all can see when
Yeah,
you come in as a guest.
No.
Okay, cool. And I guess I think I can set it up, Liz, that when somebody is in the green room that is down there,
Yeah.
that has not been introduced or let in, there's some kind of a chime or
An
something
alert?
that
Okay, that's
goes
cool.
off. So I might want to turn that on, just so that we don't miss anybody in case they're down there.
Good night, Jose.
All
Take
right.
care
Bye,
of Nick
Jose.
tomorrow.
Take care. All right. Well, I think this is
Yep,
a good
good night,
test.
Jose. See you tomorrow.
So I guess maybe we can go ahead and end the stream.
Yeah,
Unless
thanks,
there's
Neil.
something
Thanks,
that-
Tim.
Yeah,
Okay,
Tim
works
and
for me.
Neil, you have anything else to say before we go?
No, that's it.
I love you all.
I love you too.
Bye, guys. See you next time. We'll let you. We'll let you know about part 2 as soon as we know.
Oh, I see a little kitty cat there, huh?
Oh, nice.
All right.
Might
Bye-bye.
be easier to
Bye,
pick
guys.
up the cat next time.
Yeah, that was fun.